Welcome to my madness, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be taking a look at an older figure here, DC Direct Bizarro from their kind of, I want to say mid-2010s-ish Superman line. And this was a cool line. I liked this line a lot. You know, depending on how you feel about articulation and scale, maybe it does or doesn't work for you. For me, it works, and for what I collect. And I also just love the kind of old school retro packaging on the card back with the plastic bubble on the front. I think the packaging looks great. And here you can see on the back some of the other stuff that they were offering in this line. So you had like a Brainiac 13, you had a Superman, you had Cyborg Superman, Supergirl, Doomsday. By the way, that Doomsday, again, lacking in articulation, but is a phenomenal piece for a display. And they did several lines on this particular card back. They're really nice. They're nice figures. It's a nice line. I like it quite a bit, but again, personal preference. So anyway, let's go ahead. We're gonna crack this guy open, see what we think of him, see if he is a type of figure that would work well in your collection, and just in general, is this a type of figure that would work with any modern DC collection? All right, so here he's out of the package. Doesn't really come with any accessories. Does come with a nice base there. And then, of course, he does have the Bizarro #1 around his neck. I'll show you that here in just a minute. But just overall, I've wanted to pick this guy up for a while because I like what they did with the deco on him. I like him really standing out from Superman with the purple, as opposed to a lot of times what they do with Bizarro is they still put him in, you know, the red and blue, but they just make it a more dull red and blue. Whereas with this one, they went with a different color scheme with the two different shades of purple along with the yellow. And I really like that look for Bizarro. Now, as far as the articulation scheme goes on this guy's, again, DC Direct. So you got front and back there. You do have thigh swivels. You got single jointed knees. You got just back and forth on the feet. You've got no, any kind of upper torso articulation, although you do have some rotation there. You do have some ball joints there in the shoulders, but they don't come up much. You do have bicep swivels, single jointed elbows, and then you kind of have these old school, like almost Toy Biz-esque wrists where you've, got the rotation, and then you've got that hinge there that you can kind of, go back and forth with on that, which I'm not a big fan of, just from a looks perspective. It doesn't look good, but it's a small complaint for me. And then we've got some good articulation on the head. He can look up, look down. We've got a good ball joint there on the head, and I love that head sculpt. Looks fantastic. I really like that a lot. And then of course we do have the medallion there he wears, Bizarro #1, with a little piece of string that looks like a rope around his neck. I do like that a lot. And then of course we get the reverse S there on the back in yellow. I love the deco and just the overall look of this guy. I think he looks really cool, even if, again, like I've said in a lot of these videos, when it comes to DC Direct stuff or older stuff in general, articulation isn't great. However, doesn't bother me, might bother you, personal preference, whatever. But just the look of this figure is fantastic. I love the way he looks. It's just a really, it stands out more, on a Superman shelf as being Bizarro when, you go that extra step to actually really change the color scheme of the deco, as opposed to what a lot of times we're used to with Bizarro, of, again, him just still wearing the same colors, maybe in a slightly different shade. This stands out a lot more to me, and that's why I've been wanting to pick this one up for a while. So I really like it. I dig it. But I want to throw up some comparisons here real quick. See how this guy stacks up to some other figures you might have in your collection to determine better whether or not, as he falls down, to determine better whether or not he is actually something that might work for your, more modern collection. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so here we have him on the left. We've got the Mattel DC Multiverse Dark Knight Returns Superman, big bulky guy. I love that figure myself. And then on the right, one of my newer pickups here, we got the DC Direct Trinity Superman, and you can see I think both of them are a little bit taller maybe than this Bizarro. Not by much, but just a hair taller. Either way, I think it works. Like if you were gonna put it up with some, you know, Mattel DC Multiverse or with other DC Direct stuff, either way, I think this guy's gonna work. So to put him up with a couple of DC UC figures, or actually I think we've got a DC UC Superman and a DC Superheroes Lex Luthor, but essentially both DC UC. You can see that Bizarro is a little bit taller than both of them, and I'm okay with that in this sense that Bizarro should be a little bit bigger and bulkier and taller and more misshapen than Superman. So I'm okay with that. If I were to display them, you know, with my DC UC stuff as well, I think it works just as well that way. And then for some import comparisons here, of course, we've got Mafex Steel and we've got Revoltech Arkham Knight, both of which I think work. The Mafex Steel is obviously taller, but, you know, he's a guy in a suit, so maybe he should be a little bit bigger. And Arkham Knight, I think, is appropriately sized here, at least in this capacity, because Arkham Knight really shouldn't be a very large figure. You know, kind of figure he's, you know, just like Red Hood, right? Like he's going to be smaller than Batman, Superman, all that kind of stuff. So he should be smaller than Bizarro as well. So again, you want to put this guy in line with some import stuff, I think it works well there too. All right, so as far as price goes, I picked this dude up with free shipping for $18.99. In package, everything ready to go. And as you guys know, I've talked about in videos before, my kind of threshold usually tends to be about what I would pay for a figure, you know, if I walked into Walmart or Target or whatever now, which is around 25 bucks. So anything short of 25 bucks, new in package, I think it's definitely worth it. I think it's a deal, right? Like, you may not like the figure, you may not like the deco, you may not like the articulation, but arguably, you know, for those things that aren't personal preference, right? Is it worth the same as any other figure on the shelf today? I think the answer is 9 times out of 10 going to be yes, right? And I don't think this one's any exception. I think for 19 bucks that I spent on it with free shipping, absolutely hands down worth it. It's brand new in the package, ready to go. I love the deco of this. That's what stands out to me, as I said, more than anything else, is just the overall look. Fantastic head sculpt. Not the greatest articulation, but more than good enough for me and my purposes. Hands down, I think it's definitely worth it. Like I said, I would have paid up to $25 for this figure. I didn't have to. That's awesome. But, you know, I think, look, if you're a Superman fan, this is a great version of Bizarro to have in your collection. He works with a lot of different figures from a lot of other lines and companies, and it just looks good, man. It's going to be the Bizarro that kind of stands out on your shelf. It just is. So that just in and of itself, I think, makes it work for a modern DC collection or a modern collector. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely worth it. So that is it, guys. Would love to hear what you guys think. Leave that in the comment section down below. I appreciate you watching, and always remember to enjoy your collection.